making time and coming out here for this round table. After waiting for a lot of delays in the, as you said, flight delays and other things. So thanks a lot for making it here. Let's get on to the topic. The topic for the roundtable discussion is transforming medical representatives into trusted medical influencers. I think it's a very interesting topic. As we were like evolving about the topic itself, it was like quite interesting for us. So here in this roundtable, which is presented by Sharpsell AI and hosted by ETHealthworld, the Economic Times Group, we would want to embark on the journey of medical representatives, how we have evolved, how we have created an everlasting impression in 30-second videos with healthcare professionals. You've been doing a lot of things. You have been always pressed for time and equipped with discerning expertise. So we would like to know more about it. Let's start by with the first question. And before you're answering the question, I would like you all to self-introduce yourself, your name, designation, and organization, and then we can answer the questions. And also, I would request you all to keep it crisp or maybe in pointers. So we have more questions and we want to crunch everything in 60 minutes. So we want more of a discussion. So that's a request from our side. And to begin with, I would like to ask, in your expertise, in your experience, what tactics or approaches have proven most successful in clinical settings to capture and retain the attention of HCPs? So, to begin with, if I can ask Mr. Pankaj.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. First thing first, protocol. I'm Dr. Pankaj Gursahani. I represent GSK as Head of Sales Excellence. But I want to give a disclaimer. What I'm going to share here is on the personal views.
Yeah.
They don't represent my current and the previous organization in any capacity. They have used my designation only for the identification purposes. So that's fine.
Yeah.
All right. The tactics. First of all, I love the idea about transforming medical rep into medical influencer. It tells me that the job of the medical rep is going to stay. Because we keep hearing it over the channel and digitization. So if the experts, also the other side is also thinking on those lines, which means they have a huge role to play, and that has not changed, if you really ask me. The tactics to me are one or two are very critical, and they're very basic in nature. It has not changed in the last 30 years also. How disciplined you are, how responsive you are, and not giving a false commitment, and you should know your subject well. No matter whether you are representing primary care or specialty care segment, you should know your subject very well. And as long as the rep knows all these things, very basics, he or she doesn't need to be qualified with an MBA student also even. I think these tactics are good enough for him to sustain. That's my quick take on it.
Okay. To Mr. Sanket next.
Quite honestly, take it from there. Interesting one when we talk about an influencer. What they do remains the same. How they do it probably is going to change. That's the moment and that's the shift. Could add on the omni-channel digital story. It's only about the tools that you adapt them with and how well they adapt to it. Traditionally, that's what has worked. Talk about patient centricity still remains at the center. The approaches will still remain traditional. Probably we'll also have to look at the changing mindsets of the customer, the doctor, the way they are evolving. The time and accessibility is going to be a challenge, and how do we probably work around it? That's a main one. I'm sorry, probably I digress from the protocol. Sanket?
Yeah, I was about to interrupt you there.
I'm Sanket Savi with Servier now, and worked with Pharma for 15 years. Pyramid Abbott and now Segi. So that's all, and that's my name.
Okay. Going to Mr. Prashant next.
So first, I think again a disclaimer, this is all my personal views, nothing to do with Merck Serum or any of the organization which I work for. And I'm Prashant and Laghate. I've got 33 years experience in the pharma. I started in sales in Bhageria, moved to brand management, business development strategy in India, attack exports and all. And my last assignment was in Sanofi. I'm in Merck since last 23 years. Yeah.
Oops.
Okay, and dabbled in various roles, as I said. And my take on tactics is, I think, what Pankaj said, I agree with him. Discipline, number one. Very, very short communications. Because on tactics front, I think we have to segregate for a B or a business executive or a CAM or spam. Product category into two phases. One is low involvement product and one is a high involvement product. They're very different. In a low involvement product, like paracetamol or riboprazole, isoflurane or whatever it is, it's brand specific. So he needs to hunt on the brand. For a high involvement product like oncology or infertility or psychotropic drugs and all those things, we need to discuss science, but in that it's stipulated 2-3 minutes which is there. So your capability of sales becomes so important that you need to train the medical rep or business executive to see to it that he finishes off his discussion in a stipulated time. That's very important because your span of attention of the customer is become very low now. Now, if I'm talking about when I started my career in 1991, I used to remember I started in Indore. So I used to remember 4-5 medical reps. Today, if you go, you have all kinds of rules which are there. Only 5 reps can come certain days. Only probably sometimes they say that finish off your detailing, tell me your brand. Yeah. So medical rep has to be completely, he's evolving. And of course there's now pre-COVID and post-COVID. Right? So suddenly a plethora of digital thing has come. But even after 100 years, you'll see medical rep will always be there, Pankaj said. Because your touch has to be there. You get any number of mails or any number of SMS, that will not suffice until this medical rep sits in front of doctor and convinces him that my drug is better than XYZ. The doctor will not prescribe because we would say that we have to understand that the doctor is not a doctor but he's a practitioner. For him, 90% focus is his patients. So, going today or yesterday or 30 years ago, 50 years ago, medical practitioner will still have his job because he is needed there in the ground. Because there is one single line which is conviction of the medical HCP, which is healthcare professional.
So you're not threatened by AI as well?
No, I would say AI is there. See, all these things, AI, machine learning, your 3D avatar, the 4D avatar, which we are trying to do it next year. This will aid on acceleration. This will not take the place of medical reps. That has to be very, very clear. Because they are the ultimate ones who will sit in front of the doctor and explain them on why, what, which, where, how.
Thanks. So we'll go on to Mr. Suvajit next. If you can introduce yourself first.
Yeah. First of all, thank you very much, ETHealthworld and Sharpsell for creating this platform for sharing and learning. My name is Suvajit Sinha. I am from NUTROVA. I am having total 23 years of experience in pharmaceutical industry. Started as a medical representative in General Remedies Respiratory Care Division, and then worked with Colgate Pharma India Limited in the Pharma Division only. Then worked in Johnson & Johnson, and 3 years back I just joined in NUTROVA as a Vice President Sales and Marketing, looking after the P&L of this company. So basically, this is short introduction about myself. And very passionate I am about this particular topic because this is something very interesting topic for all of us who have started our career as a medical representative and grown up in this particular stage. Coming to the questions, there is a proverb called old is gold. Nothing has changed. I'm telling you, nothing has changed over the period of time. The role of medical representative remain unchanged. Irrespective of whatever has happened in the last 50, 70 years, no, role of medical representative remain unchanged. The role of medical practitioner, HCPs, remain unchanged. What exactly has happened in between? The companies, number of companies have been evolved. So 50 years back or 30 years back, there may be 5-6 companies in a particular category. Now there's 50-60 companies are there. What is exactly has happened in the last 30 years? The specialty, super specialty, multi-specialty doctors came out into the picture. So now, what exactly the tactics? I mean, the role of medical representative should be remain unchanged. But having said that, number one is that identifying the need of the doctor. And whenever I am going to the doctor, whether it's a GP or specialty or super specialty, so first of all, the representative should identify the need of the doctor, that what exactly the need of that particular doctor, which area he is concerned about it, and for that thorough research should be there. Number one. Number two is that if medical representative by RCPA or by having some sort of research methodology, he can understand the need of the doctor, he can come out with a solution how to address that need. And why I have started with saying that role of ACPs have not changed, because if we look at ACP, they are still now concerned about their patients only. They are not bothered about the companies, they are not bothered about the medical representative and as well as products. They are only concerned about their practice, the patients. Their prime focus is patient. Now, how as a medical representative I am able to satisfy the doctor's problem, doctor's need, that is something the tactics need to be adopted, according to me. And the next part, the final part, very short, like this is not only about the science discussion. Today the situation is, the generation is all about social media, all about the collaboration with the companies, all about the different tools ACPs are using. So it is not about only by science I can definitely engage the doctor, but apart from that, how I can collaborate with the doctor, how I can make partner with the doctors by collaborating him in the social media, or because a lot of doctors are advertising themselves also. Their competition is very high. Instagram, they're active in Instagram, they're active in other social medias. So doctors are also willing to take help from the companies in how they can actually help us to grow in our business. So this is the way. This is not only science, but also science plus need-based solution to be provided to the ACPs by the medical representatives. That is something which I did not.
Nice point is, I would like to come to Mr. Amit with the same question and with a self-introduction.
Yeah, sure. I'll also start with that disclaimer. I think that holds true for all of us here. But even at the cost of reputation, these are my views, nothing to do with the company as well as my ex-organization. Short introduction about me. I head Salesforce Excellence and Automation in CIPLA. Been close to 15 years in terms of work experience. I've been part of companies like Sanofi. Started my career more as a consultant advisory in KPMG IQVIA, and now been in CIPLA for almost 4 years. Firstly, I really want to thank both Sharpsell as well as ETHealthworld for providing this opportunity. Right? It's an honor to be part of this esteemed group, right? And to hear all of you. It's been a very good learning already, right? But I'm really looking forward for the next 60 minutes. Coming to the question, I think a lot of things that we have discussed so far, right? Not much to add to this, but if I have to just summarize, right? I would say it's mostly now the relationship is transforming into what we have looked at like a customer relationship manager, right? And that's what I feel the role is now transforming to, right? Which takes care of a lot of things that we discussed so far, whether it is discipline, whether it is responsiveness, right? But if I have to just say, I would say it is 3 C's here, right? One, of course, is the customization, right? Today, that one size fits all will not work, right? Because of various reasons, right? Doctors have access to so much information, right? The expectations have changed. The second C would be how you communicate, right? Which we have already discussed, so I will not harp more on that. The third and the most important was always and will continue to be is the content, right? I think the content is going to be the king as always, and I believe these are the 3 things which are helping and which will further augment the existing role and make them more like a medical influencer. So that's largely my view on this.
Sure. So I would like to Abhijit to go on with the next set of questions.
Sure. Thanks, Pratibha. So before that, just again a quick intro. So I'm Abhijit, I'm a part of Sharpsell and I'm Ahmedabad alumni company. And I lead the business for pharma and banking insurance at Sharpsell. So good to know about all the points that again has emerged in this discussion for the first question as well. So I hear there's something like the medical rep should be very disciplined. He should have all those scientific inputs in his mind, etc. But when we started again, building Sharpsell for pharma, right? After we were successful in insurance and banking, And when I personally, shadowed all those medical reps, did some joint calls with them, and at the end of the day, when we had that, child sutta break, and wanted to understand what their problems are, what their challenges are. So, in terms of intent, they clearly told me, Abhijit, I want to look like an expert in front of my HCP. It's like, so my interaction with the HCP or the doctor is like an exam for me. I want to excel into that exam. I want to look like the topper of the class, my area business manager, but I don't want to study for this. So can you help me with certain kind of cheat codes that will really help me to pass that exam, look like the topper of the class without studying? So having said that context, I want to come to my second question, that is, what is the biggest challenge that we see currently our MRs are facing on the ground? And like what is the need of the hour that needs to be addressed immediately for the medical reps, the frontliners? Yeah. So maybe I will start again the same order. I'll start with Pankaj, and then probably we'll go to the same order. Yeah.
Yesterday I was for fieldwork only.
Yes.
And that day the hospital was not allowing the reps to go. And they have a condition also now. You have to pay 6,500 rupees per year
Per year.
for one person.
Okay.
So we didn't have the money in any case. So we espionaged ourselves, somehow skip all the CCTV cameras, and we still made some calls. That's the first thing. Okay. And we were wearing a very normal, the trousers and all that. Except for jean, I think I was wearing a very normal kind of an individual. No ties. Ties to time ko zamana ho gaya. I don't think so. I recall wearing a tie in the field.
Yes.
So, but I started my career with the ties only.
Yeah.
So that's one part. And the biggest issue what I see is an access to the doctor. Amazingly tough. I think my job was very simple when I started my career as a sales guy. ऐसा नहीं था. I'm sure you can relate. But today that's the biggest problem. और ऊपर से there are hundreds of reps out there. Marketing says कि this is the message you have to convey, the 5 messages you must convey, then go to brand 3. But the guy gets only 30 seconds or maximum 15 seconds to do the call. उसमें मैं I have to utter the brand only. Forget all the strategy, no offense to anyone of us जो हमने बनाई थी, but when he's executing or she's executing, it's not of their fault. Environment is like that. Can I blame the SCP for that? The answer is no.
Yeah.
The disease burden is so much. Poor fellow doesn't have time. I was in Gursahani also yesterday, and I was so unfortunate to see and witness the saying that people are making a doctor call in the parking lot. Even कल देख अपने आंखों से, which is not in news to anyone of you, I'm sure, but I saw it happening.
Okay.
Parking call में मैं Sharpsell हो या कुछ और भी tool हो, क्या मैं use करूँगा?
Yeah.
I really have to rush and say hi to Dr. Vijay, say my brand, and my call is reported.
Okay.
So for me, that's the biggest challenge, and it's an environmental challenge. It's not a challenge caused by the organization or by the industry. It's an environmental challenge, and I think I don't have an answer to address it.
Yeah.
What they're doing is currently with the common sense. To me, they're doing the right thing.
Okay.
That's the one thing, and that's if somebody can help me to address that as the challenge,
Okay.
including Sharpsell and the lady also in the command,
Yes.
will be more than happy to pay that.
No,
I think Sharpsell will be.
Yeah, no, I think just my 2 cents on this. I mean, if I have to again ask a follow-up question in this,
Please.
let's say if we set aside the environmental challenge, we understand the attention span or the call timing has been reduced to 30 seconds. But if I have to ask, what is the major challenge of an MR, right? In this 30 seconds, apart from the environmental challenge that you see, that could really help him to utilize those 30 seconds to the best, what would that be?
So I think that will be only how do I convey my message very crisply, making sure that I'm balancing the entire portfolio. That's the only challenge he or she will have, because there is pressure on him, on his incentive also to sell the basket of the product.
Okay.
In 30 seconds, should I talk about the question by asking the doctor, or should I just convey the message? I think I'll choose the second part by conveying the message.
Okay.
Having said that, if I'm compelled to think, if it is a primary care rep, this is what I will do. But if I'm from a specialty care background, I would not like to see that as a challenge. My challenge is a little different. Because the moment I see Dr. Amit and he knows that Pankaj is from oncology, his perception about me is also changed. I'm not a so-called selling paracetamol to him. Then the equation is a little different. because I've got something which he really wants to know. So there's a separate challenge which I'll talk about a little later, but I wanted to not to carpet that this is a challenge for everybody now.
Okay,
Primary care business, this is the biggest challenge.
understood. Yeah. So over to you, then probably Sanket, you can respond to the first question.
Yeah, I think you put those words so well, Pankaj, because yes, I spoke about it when we started. The access remains your primary concern. However, from a human resource perspective, what I do typically in a field work is to understand how do you typically the team support you, and I speak the language of a medical nurse.
Yeah.
Because typically what they can't speak to the sales managers and the compliance managers is what they speak to human resource. So in this crowd, the crowd of organizations which are able to provide therapeutic solutions, so-called pharmaceutical companies, how do they distinguish themselves?
Yeah.
Because with due respect to our operations and the ethics and compliance, and of course regulatory compliances which we are supposed to adhere to, they come up with, of course, a doctor's expectations. And the challenge to them is, sir, I have the right message. I am conveying it in the best possible, trained mannerism that I have been taught with those time limitations that I have after a difficult time of access. However, there are others, and that others leaves a lot of question mark on him because he's talking about samples. He's talking about things where I'll talk about organizations where we are limited to deliver that in the same structure of framework. And he says, so while others can do it, why can't we? And we say, no, we all are compliant. No, that's a brutal, honest truth that I accept from this floor. And that is what my medical reps ask me. So if we have the same framework, we have the same regulatory body, while some can, I can't. And that, to them, actually deters them on that field because they say, sir, I am doing my job with all honesty.
Yeah.
However, how does my company say that this is what we can't do while others can? So we really can't talk about those others, but that becomes his challenge. His bigger challenge beyond the doctor is the others, that framework, how do we really build that? And that motivation, that we are right, don't worry about what others win. You can't really put them on an horse, eye blinders and say, no, don't worry about it. What is open, they're going to look at it.
Yeah.
That's probably my take on this.
Nice, a different perspective altogether. Yes. So over to you, Suvajit, if you can add your 2 cents. Yeah.
Okay. In this regard, let me identify the root cause. What is the root cause over the period of time? To answer your question.
Yeah.
The problem is that I don't see any fault of any medical representative. To be very frank and honest, I don't see any fault because what Pankaj told absolutely right. They are struggling like anything.
Yeah.
Meeting the doctors in the parking lot, even meeting the doctors while walking on the corridor. I mean, this is a pathetic part. And look at the sun, like May month, June month. I mean, even people are under 45, 48 degree. They are standing without any shade under the So they are trying to do their level best. But what exactly is happening? The root cause is that number one is that whether we as a company management we are recruiting the right person for this job. This is the big question. Because for the benefit of the short-term sales, for the benefit of the short-term business, we are just going all out to recruit, whoever is there, whoever is accessible. Now, I still remember 20 years back or 30 years back, there was a strict rule, people from science background only should come to the pharmaceutical, medical sales because they understand the science, the pharmacology, they understand the term, they understand the digestive system, they understand the endocrine, hormones, what exactly is the function. Today we are recruiting our students. Today we are recruiting the candidate who is having the commerce background, who is not having any science knowledge, nothing. And moreover, and apart from that, we are not spending, as a management, we are not spending sufficient time from the training of these people. I'm not telling these people will not be able to do, but then again, we are not giving enough time to train these people. Now, what is happening? As you told, motivation level, right? Motivation level, why the person is not having motivation level to that extent? Because one point of time he is not from that particular background. The second point of time, the management is not paying attention to develop or train the person. If we want Sachin Tendulkar to become a singer, I should spend sufficient time, or else I should not recruit Sachin Tendulkar as a singer of Indian Idol. Right. So once the blunder I have already done, like I have recruited Sachin Tendulkar to be a singer, and I have told him to perform in the Indian Idol that audition. Then I should also be responsible to give the training to make him Kumar Sanu or Vijit or Vidit Narayan. That is not happening. What is happening? So there is wrong recruitment, plus there is no training. Like earlier days, there was 1 month training used to happen. Like 1 month, 20 days. I 23 years back when I started, I had a training of 25 days in Mumbai. I was based at Calcutta and I came to Mumbai for 25 days. Now max to max 5 days. Max to max 5 days. I don't know. I mean, with due respect to all other companies, but I mean, it is across what I have heard from other medical representatives. So induction, not only science. I'm talking about induction training is happening for 5 days. Can you imagine induction training is to know the company, to know the culture, to know the system? It takes almost like 2 and 3 days. How can a person to be equipped with the knowledge of the science, knowledge of the sales in 5 days? This is not happening. Immediately after 5 days, they are pushed to the field with the sales target. This is something the data is, and you do the sales target. And what is happening? The frustration and everything is happening in the doctor's training. And as a result of which, doctors are not getting any kind of like insight from the medical representatives, and they are frustrated. And that's why the trend has come. Like doctors know now, medical representatives are, I mean, almost like 90% medical representatives are useless. They are making the parking in the parking lot because they are not adding value. But this is also not the problem of medical representative. This is the problem of the system. Us, like, are we spending a lot of time to develop a person? Because irrespective of everything, like I'm telling you, in any field, you go any field, the training and development should be continuous. Like there shouldn't be any compromise. Like it is not about only our field, any field. So that is the challenges which medical represent rather than the companies enforced challenges the medical representatives are facing in the field, and HCPs. That's why the HCPs are today not very much happy and satisfied with the quality of the people in the ground, and that's why they are not willing to spend because they are having a lot of work in their mind. It's not only about patients; they are also struggling. They are also trying to establish themselves superior than that other doctors. And that's why they are not willing to spend sufficient time with the medical representatives.
Makes sense, Suvajit. I think that was insightful. Maybe we'll quickly go to Prashant and take your views also in this.
Yeah, so as I said earlier, the biggest challenge of sales rep, medical rep, or CAM or PAM, whatever we say, after editing comics for the last 4 years from marketing, is that how he should differentiate himself in front of doctors. That's the biggest challenge. Now he's actually torn between two things. Being a scientific influencer, again I'll go back, whether he's handling low involvement product or high involvement product, and how he needs to, month after month, he has to achieve his targets. Because incentives, or we at least, whenever we design incentives, it's incentives which are designed, which make him run in the field, okay, and they are quite lucrative. Now he's torn into both of this, because he knows that in my portfolio, you have a low involvement product. Maybe it's a cardiovascular drug, which is 30 years old, 40 years old, but it's still in the growth phase. In the other view, you have an oncology product. In the other view, you have a psychosomatic drug, growth hormone. In the other view, you have a fertility or something like this, or a high range anti-infective. Now his time span in front of a doctor, he knows when he's standing in the 5th row, then it's going to be hardly 30 seconds of 1 minute, max. In that 1 minute, how it's going to make an impact is very necessary. Now, and the first point, discipline is very important. There are reps who are very disciplined, and they are so disciplined when the rep enters the doctor's cabin, whether it is a KOL, a KTL, or which we call key knowledge leaders. The doctor knows that this is a Merck rep, Pfizer rep, Glaxo rep, and he has these 4 products which he always details. So he knows how to take the CRM into use. So many medical reporters, they not even open the laptop or the iPad which we give normally. They will just chat with them. Maybe they are chatting on Hummus, maybe they are chatting on the Chandrayaan 3. And while detailing, through keeping samples or is detailing, they will finish off their communication strategy. So when I was in marketing, we used to have a 2-3-5 rule, which is the 2 aspects of the product, 3 USPs of the product, and 5 communication lines. That's it. Full stop. You are not a scientist, right? You are not going to tell him what is contraindication, what are side effects, and how many drugs cannot be used. Doctor also, to be very frank, doesn't know. Yesterday I saw a product which is a rabeprazole plus aceclofenac. I was thinking, one is a NSAID and one is a proton pump inhibitor. What do you do? So there's so many combinations are there. Or when a rep goes inside, he knows that okay, this is the 1, 2, 3, 4 products which are there, and that thing how he needs to make an impact, because constantly at the back of the head he knows that he has to achieve now.
Yeah.
Sometimes we used to say in sales, the QSQT, quarter se quarter tak. We used to say that. If quarter se quarter the plan karke achieve karo, then you think about the next. And that's what achieve, because he knows the market is so fragmented that when I'm entering a doctor's chamber in a low amount product, I know 60 brands are there. All make an impact.
Yeah.
When I'm entering with a high amount product, I know at least 5 brands are there, and I have to fight a competition because I am the originator and there are some other brands which have come at a low price.
Yeah.
And he's not able to convince the doctor that okay, that brand is bad. Now there is compliance rules are there, then you cannot talk about that brand. Yeah. But how he needs to convince, Baba, that is my product is X, that is X divided by 5. But how I'm better, how I've been giving you services, because you are good as long as your last innings. Simple.
Yeah.
So a medical health biggest challenge is the time, number one, communication at the least possible time, and how he needs to differentiate himself. That's why what we have done in our capability building, since capability building is also the team reports to me, and I look after sales excellence and marketing excellence, is that not only train the field force, but we also train the product managers.
Yes.
Because product managers, when they come from the MBA institute, most of them don't have that sales experience, empathy. So वो visual dे देगा 40 लाइन का,
Yeah.
ठीक है? मालूम ही नहीं क्या होगा, डेटा से information कैसे दिया जाता है? Sorry to use India, but I'm just telling you the ground realities. So we have a marketing excellence program. We also have a sales excellence program, where soft skills are, as we discussed.
Yeah.
What are the soft skills we provide? So we know exactly through psychometric test which are the group of medical reps or V's or CAMs or PAMs which require influential skills, which requires motivational skills, which requires negotiating skills.
Yeah.
And as per that, we navigate and which requires probably a digital skill. Yeah. So we train them that way.
Yeah.
And we know exactly in the role play that when he's making a role play, he's not doing a role play for 7 minutes. He is making role play as if he is there inside the market. 3 minutes बताओ क्या बताओ. Maybe you are just giving sampling, and while giving sampling, you are putting the sample 1, 2, 3, 4. You are detailing. The doctor is looking here and he is grasping. Maybe you are just talking about some phase 4 trial for a high volume product and telling them in exactly 2 lines that you can read it, but I am going to tell you these 2 lines which will generate your interest.
Yeah.
It's all about IDAS. Awareness, interest, desire, action, satisfaction. Simple. And then you go back to interest, your repeat purchase takes place.
Yes.
So these are the challenges, both for a low involved product and a high involved product.
No, I mean interesting, Prashant. So yes, your take, Amit, on this.
Okay, so on a lighter note, Abhi, because you mentioned that if you leave aside environmental challenge, so I
Yes.
will then talk about that spirit, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and probably to bring a new element into this, right? If you have to look at it, probably you can break it into 2 parts, right? One could be, let's say, your usual regular medical rep, right? Then I would like to probably talk a bit about, let's say, any new medical rep who comes in.
Yeah.
I think because there it becomes even more significant. Yeah. The 2-3 things that I would like to probably highlight as a challenge. Yeah. Is right. One, see, there is one doctor that a medical rep meets, right? But from a company to that same doctor, depending upon the type of portfolio, you will have multiple reps visiting from the same company, leave aside other companies, right?
Okay.
So a lot of time what happened is that people do not get visibility or awareness of, let's say, what the company is doing with that doctor, right? So he or she, any good rep probably will figure out, let's say, will have it in his or her mind, right? But most often or not, you will see that they will not have that visibility as to, apart from him or her, what the company is doing with that doctor, right? So second thing, whenever a person comes new, right, then again this problem becomes even more severe, right?
Yeah.
There is probably a lag in terms of transition that happens, so that becomes a very big challenge for any new medical rep that comes, right? Then it's in the mercy of the manager, right? How much he or she can then guide. But if there is a way that the prior, let's say, relationship or activity, knowledge about that doctor, right? Do all the medical reps have that access, right? On the day of joining. This is linked to what I think we were discussing in terms of whether it is training and the time of training that we have. Right? The last thing is, I think we all know there used to be something called elevator pitch, right?
Yeah.
So this is like preparing somebody to make an elevator pitch for the elevator pitch, right? So the duration is going on reducing day by day, right?
Yeah.
So how you communicate, again going back to that first discussion that we had, right?
Yeah.
This is becoming, like when we do training, we talk about start ऐसे करो, close ऐसे करो, then you bring in that.
Yeah.
Practically, all these things don't work, right? So
Yeah.
prepare. How do we prepare? Or the biggest challenge I would say for the is that how to communicate that in the right manner, and maybe having visibility of, let's say, that doctor. And in this today's era, when apart from face-to-face visit, is omni-channel, virtual, right, augmented connects that are happening. I think all those can give a lot of value add to the rep and talking points for them when they go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, before Abhijit goes to the next question, and being a timekeeper here, 30 minutes is gone. We have just 30 minutes, we have 3 questions. So be little specific and maybe pointers, it will be easier. Yeah.
Sure. Thanks for this. So just before going to my the next question. So apart from the environmental challenges, again I'm keeping it a little aside. So the common theme that we spoke in this was again in terms of how does he communicates effectively, right? How does he or she uses those 30 seconds that has been got, or let's say how do we equip him or her for those 30 seconds? So having said that, my next question is, what can you quote some examples from your experience? Everyone has worked across different firms. What are certain innovative tools, technologies, or even strategies that you have implemented for your medical reps to equip him or her for this 30 seconds to have that impact, so that he or she can differentiate him or her from the next MR that is entering? So maybe I will flip the order right now. I will start with Amit.
Sure, good, and glad that I have
So
been
happy as well.
Yeah.
Nothing much was left for me to add after all.
Yes.
Go for it, man.
Yes.
Okay, but why I said good, because it is actually linked to the previous question, right?
Yes.
We
Yes.
spoke about the challenges, and
Yeah.
as a company or as, let's say, leaders or being part of pharma organization, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the things that we are doing to solve, right? And maybe to the extent that I can share, right? See, I think the first thing what we have attempted to do is to solve that problem of visibility, right? So we are trying to establish, let's say, something called D360, right? One view of the doctor, right? And when I say one view, the desire is to probably get a view of all the activities, let's say, that the doctor is doing related to pharma, even outside the company, right? But at least to start off, we are trying to solve the problem of giving that one view of the doctor, right, across systems or technologies that we have. I think that's one piece, right? The second piece is in terms of aiding the medical reps with, let's say, the point that Prashant was saying, right? The same step of, are we giving a 40-page visual aid data?
Yeah.
Now we are working on more of actionable insights, right? So again, I'll go back to that same example, right? It's not something new that we are doing. If you ask me, every medical rep, or at least all good medical reps, will be doing this, right? Whether it is doctor level sales planning at the start of the month, or on a day-to-day basis, knowing beforehand what that person wants to go and talk to the doctor, right? So we are just trying to create something called a nudge or really important messages which could be useful. It's not that you have to go and speak about these to the doctor, but at least for those who probably are not being able to be more crisp or sharp, there is some kind of aided messages that we are trying to provide to us.
Understood. Yes. Sure. Thanks, Amit. So maybe I will go to Prashant next. Your inputs on this.
So I think, see, one thing we need to know that, when any organization tries to bring AI, for example, or something to like MCM tools, multi-channel marketing, we have got Omnia which is there, Viva which is there.
Yeah.
We need to first understand that when we are in the closed door, we think we are the only ones, so we clap and all those things. The moment we go to the market, we come to know that at least 100 companies are doing
Yeah.
this, right? So for the internal customer, then the rep say, अरे तो ये तो उनको बता रहा था ऐसे, AC cabin में ऐसा है, लेकिन इससे तो 10 company भी आ रही है, which is the latest organization which has entered the market with 100 crores also is doing the same thing.
Yes.
So the question is, how we need to, from the internal side, how we need to see to it the soft skills. So we, as I said, we have got psychometric tools which are there.
Okay.
So we train customized training which are doing.
Okay.
Yeah. So we train a high level product like oncology CAM or PAM differently, then the fertility guy differently, and then the cardiovascular diabetes differently. This is the internal customer.
Yeah.
From the external perspective, we actually go towards the probably pre-COVID era.
Yeah.
What is happening is that suddenly we find that everybody is using digital. And everybody is earlier what I used to see that people are sending WhatsApp messages, doctors get frustrated. I come from family of doctors, I know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Suddenly, you see that there are 1,000 messages there.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just flickering,
Yeah.
XYZ brand name, and we used to get frustrated. Then suddenly came the cyber cafe. I remember that. So we used to carry a group of doctors to cyber cafe. I remember that with some fee, right? Now it has come, you have everybody has a laptop or something, and so you have animated videos, for example, something. You go to an animated video and suddenly find that the person who has just left the doctor's table did the same thing.
Yeah.
Right? So there are some things which we do is internally we have made his job extremely easy because we have a huge data analytical and reporting system inbuilt, which defocuses attention from just calculating. We have got a industry's first calculator, automated calculator, which he knows exactly what is the YTD incentive, YTD incentive. I'll tell you why. It's because his time in administrative work takes a lot of time. Incentive calculation and reporting and all those things. So we have made it and making slides and presentations. So everything we have got I cannot name that, but we have got a system in which everything is automated.
Yeah.
Click a button. In your territory, for his manager, area manager, for his RSM, he gets the hierarchy-wise analysis.
Makes sense.
Complete. What you have done in the last 6 months, what you want to do, what is the YTG, where are you, where you want to go. You put his incentive calculator, he finds out that, okay, this is the thing. So his administrative work from 70% has come down to 10%. Now his focus is on doctors and the prescription, secondary sales.
Yeah.
So there we give him a training in the sense that what is required for you to, as he rightly said, what is required for you, not in this cabin, but when you go down, what is required for you to do in the chemist chamber from between 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. where he is very free. You don't have to go to a doctor and say thank you to him when you stop prescribing. Because he's not doing RCP, right? So how it is important for him, again, basics. To go to a chemist, talk to, you have all kinds of wellness forever now, so many chemists, or pharmacists or not chemists. And do a proper RCP, and in the industry it's the same rule. Your 20% of the customer will give you 80% of business. Finding that 20% is the most difficult part. So for everybody, all the 5,000 companies, the same thing. But some people just, probably I have seen, train them and just leave them and tell them to target them. Some people really make an effort to see to it that how his entire challenges of being administrator of incentive calculation, or focusing on doctors, or focusing on stockist management and CFA management, and has become so easy, at least in our organization, that he focuses completely on this. And there are a lot of tools which are there. We have digital tools which are there. We have animated videos which are there. We have phase 4 trials which are there. We have a very joint fieldwork policy. And most of us, we go, there is anything function, he goes in the field for at least 2 days. So we know exactly, the regulatory guy should know what is happening. So COMEX guy like me should know what is happening. Today. Maybe the supply chain management should know what is happening. What are the things. So the motivation front of a BE or a salesperson goes up in a very different way. He knows I've got a lot of support. These guys are making my life very easy. So now take focus in there to bring that prescription.
Yes. Rest all things are taken care of.
Take it.
No, nice, Prashant. Maybe I will quickly, go to Suvajit.
So in continuation, what I have told also,
Yeah.
like, the basic objective is to identify the doctor's need.
Yeah.
The doctor is very much focused to the patient's problem. So there is one like term which comes to my mind, like whenever we train our people in the field, in the company, that need specific and disease specific scientific communication. It's not only the scientific communication, what is there in your product, which product you are having, the brand name, doctor is not bothered about it.
Yeah.
Doctor is bothered about, like, your patient is suffering from this problem. For this problem, I am having this solution. Now, this is something which I am providing you for the patient's benefit, not that I am having a brand XYZ. Doctor, please support me, please bless me, and please give me a support. Please give me 1-2 prescription. Why? Why doctor will give? Because it is not, may not be, it may not be, fitting the doctor's requirement. So first of all, like what we do generally, that coming to the skin nutraceutical in the current company, that we are having collagen, like NUTROVA collagen plus antioxidant, and we are not supposed to tell. I mean, our representatives are being categorically asked that we are not going to tell the doctor, we are having collagen, please prescribe collagen. It contains this. No, I mean, doctor is not interested. But doctor, you are having the patients who are very much interested for anti-aging treatment, and you are going through various processes like Botox, fillers, derma rollers, all these processes you are doing. Along with that, I mean, if you add this collagen, it will boost. So all these things, so it is a back type. It is not the front wise, like this is the company, this is the product, this is the composition, this is the doses. No, you are having problem, you are having the patients, this is the solution for your problem, and this contains this, and this is having these doses. That's it. That is something, and in view of this, coming to very quickly, that is a customized key message. Like every doctor is not equal. Every doctor is not interested to listen all the story. So we, as a company, we are providing like customized key message. Like there is the key messages, short key messages, and desired key messages. Desired means whatever we want to tell them. But short key messages means that, doctor is very much in a hurry. Like doctor is hurry. Doctor is not having any time in a parking lot. On the process of giving like samples, how can you within that 30 seconds, how can you brief couple of points to engage the doctor and to grab the attention of the doctor? That's it.
Yeah.
That is something which I just...
No, interesting. So maybe Sanket, will quickly go to you.
Yeah. Just to probably again start with, I certainly feel I'm a league of gentlemen, largely from SAPs, and I'm a human resource person. And trust me, I will take away a lot more than what I'm going to talk about. So once again, thank you very much for having me here. Makes me a little more business oriented. So that's big, insight I take. But to talk about tools, of course, you have gentlemen who will talk and are sharing things very specific, which probably I need to them. I'll bring in again the human resource aspect, that's what I'm known for. Quickly to go back to, let's say, an Indian cricket scenario or any cricket scenario. Today when you look at these teams of players that we have, and we go back to days, it's difficult to believe today in an Indian team you would have a David Boone or a Arjuna Ranatunga with this thumb all rotated and doing looking at guys of fit, right? And from that era to today, this era. An era where we knew in Indian cricket, you have to have the Sachin, Azharuddin, Jadejas, and then probably after that, Nayan Mongia used to switch off the TV and say, "Ki ab to charge hai, bache will probably contribute 20 runs." To a point where you're looking at the Shardul Thakurs and every single bowler also probably going to have a longer tail. And to do this, I think we've done a lot in terms of providing tools here, from a single coach to a coach who will do your fielding coach, there will be a batting coach, there will be a bowling coach.
Yeah.
Moving forward, today you have a mental coach.
Yeah.
Now that mental coach brings a story that beyond the tools that we could provide, we're looking at someone who's only going to work on the person's EQ, emotional quotient, or probably his behavioral aspect, his mindset. And that's another tool that we, in the larger bargain, probably at times is a very important tool that we can as a company provide. Give a very simple example. We're talking about understanding doctors' need, very important because every doctor is different.
Yeah.
And basis which we're providing them tools or AI tools or probably the short messages they can have. But Is he identifying the doctor correctly?
Yeah.
Wrong identification, wrong solution. I think I'm doing the right thing. So this probably will move beyond, and we need to train, and that's what we're trying to do, is to give them a tool, maybe not tool, or probably upskill them to identify the doctor correctly, very basic, because fundamentally you go wrong there, all your solutions are going to go up. And that's what we're doing. We're doing an emotional quotient training. We're teaching. Now this is again a little too much to ask from medical, right? Because he's already been taught on so many things. This is not his domain. I'm teaching him psychology, understanding a doctor side. So I'm going back to a customer psychology, not his tool, but I'm training him, probably generating that interest in him to understand behaviors of a doctor and say, okay, if you see this and you get into the role of a psychology, you'll be able to understand your doctor better, his preferences better, his need better.
Yeah.
And basis which I probably think. So we're going back to the roots so that my tools are more effective. And I think that itself is a tool that we provide.
Sure. Yeah. No. Interesting, Sanket. Yes, Pankaj.
Which I have.
Yes. I'm sure you will.
You can be
answer.
very quick.
Could you repeat the question again, please?
Okay. So, what are some innovative tools or let's say strategies that we have?
Okay, I'll just say a few things. There are few tools I will talk about from the technology point of view, which has worked in our favor big time.
Yeah.
For example, when I started my career, the training was always 25-30 days like this. But today, you have a pitch perfect, you have got a way to record your conversation, see yourself, and then you get evaluated by yourself, by your manager. So that has really helped. Initial days when we launched it, good old days back, 10 years back, 7 years back, people were reluctant. Right? But now people have become used to it also, so it has become a way of life. और होता क्या है कि when you record yourself and you want to submit for the review, I will do the best. Yeah. I will record 10 times, 15 times, 30 times with all good looks and everything. And because my boss is going to evaluate, or my trainer is going to evaluate. So in a bargain, what happens, I tend to learn all the messages, all the articulations and everything. So that's the one thing which has worked very well. Second piece, fully agree, elevator pitch, we train people quite hard in the past also, but personally I'm not game for it. I generally don't believe in that because already when I've never told him, he was doing all the time elevator pitch from donkey years. Even I did my lot of elevator pitch, even though I heard the term 5 years back only. But we're doing it, alright? So if you give them elevator pitch training too much, my worry is that you are giving a license to only make the short calls. I will do it. It's a license. So the opportunity to have a desired calls are then diminishing. That's the second part. Third part, credit goes to the marketing colleagues also when they make those so-called crisp messages, desired messages vis-a-vis must messages. You already given them enough. और short call क्या करोगे आप? Your own belief on your brand features is so lacking. No offense.
Yes.
आप उसको गति छोटा दे रहे हो in the name of no customizations and all that. If you have a conviction, you better train him hard to make sure that no, I'm not going to train you to an elevator pitch. I will train you on how to take more time.
Yes.
Big deal. And if requires 7 page, 8 page, so be for it. So especially when I deal with my oncology team or my specialty team, the focus is completely on with an objective, how do I take more time?
Yes.
So we train them also, okay, speak for 5 minutes on particular topic non-stop. And you will be surprised, people don't get last even beyond 90 seconds. As it is, DNA of our field force is not so great. Communication, English, articulation is not so the highest of standard. And you don't get those so-called B-school people as well for the medical background. So that's the first part. Second part, if you really qualify for those 5 minutes kind of a conversation with yourself, now let's have a conversation science only. So 10 minute vartalap Bhageria, really Q&A questions by the doctor, by us, and she has to answer it in the right answer. So that's the way people tend to become more conversationalist and detailing.
Yes.
The SLE people says, nahi, aap unko bolo ki open the visual aid, they have to talk about the KCU. I said, KCU is only for the aid.
Yeah.
If you give them a focus on the KCU, then he will not do the conversation, he will do only so-called detailing. So, in fact, there has been some argument, I had with some of the BUDs also, to remove these things. Don't measure it, kitna time lagata hai wo, and people know how to crack the code. Even if I make 30-second call, I can still show you, look sir, I have done 7-minute call. I know everything, so aap mujhe mat sikhao. So point here is that got to have a sometime leap of faith also. And go back to the old conviction also, because when doctor really see that you know your subject well,
Yeah.
he or she will give the time.
Yes.
So some technology things have worked. Finally, very important point what he made from the human source point of view, psychological training for the doctors is, for the reps on the doctors, very important.
Yeah.
I'm an inside practitioner myself also, so we train people on social styles, blues, the reds, and the greens. So you know which doctor require data.
Yeah.
Which doctor require crisp message, which doctor require more conversation on the patient. Four colors also. So if you give them that training also, which has worked wonder. So it has to be an amalgamation of science, technology, and obviously soft skills. That's the way I understand it.
Yeah. Like I'm not a medical rep or I'm from a different field altogether, but looking at the discussion, I'm also carried away. But being a timekeeper, have to.
Sure.
The fourth question would be
Sorry.
very short from everyone, please.
Yeah.
Try our best, man.
Yeah.
Sure. So I think we touched upon the challenges and the tactics and the strategies and the tools to overcome those. My next question would be in terms of if we have to now turn the table, if we have to not look at the medical reps but at the HCPs, what is their perspective? What are the, let's say, what are the things that they like out of a medical rep, or what are the few things that they dislike these days from the medical reps? What would that be? Some quick answers. So maybe I'm starting randomly from, let's say, Sanket.
A quick one, very quick one. From what I see,
Yes.
because again, I've been very little there.
Yeah.
All said and done, doctor need a medical rep, and that's need is not going to go.
Yeah.
But he needs respect of his time.
Hmm.
People are not going to be pushy and non-intrusive, because for him it's patience is first. So you deliver your message, let it be quick, and be responsive when the doctor comes back to you. I think there is where I think your primary needs as an HCP is respect and non-intrusive.
Makes sense. Suvajit, you.
So, as I mentioned, like, doctors need medical representatives, and for the good discussion, doctor gives time.
Yeah.
Whether it is medical representative or manager, he gives time. But what doctor needs, that the value addition in his practice, in his patience, in his knowledge. In that 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, he can give 1 hour also.
Yeah.
But that value addition should be there even for the business development also. So there is a term called patient-centric management.
Yeah.
Many of the doctors are very much curious to know how can I build my business, because nowadays doctors are also doing business, collaboration with Instagram and all these things.
Yeah.
How should I increase my business? It is not only about treating the patients, but also build my business. If in that particular case, MR is giving some suggestions, MR is adding value, doctor will be giving 1 hour time also. So that is something a value addition. That's it.
Makes sense. Amit.
So I think I'll keep it simple, right? I think a lot of time we start selling what we want to sell, but we don't sell what the customers want to buy.
Yeah.
And I think that itself answers it in terms of what doctors do, right? So it has to be that the responsiveness, what we spoke, right?
Yeah.
It is not what you have come prepared, but what can you do for me, right? And some of these things are like value addition, right? Whether it is patient-centric offering, what you can provide, right?
Yeah.
The last thing is oversaturation, right?
Mm.
And I'm right now talking about oversaturation, what as an individual that rep is doing, right? Leave
Yeah.
aside what, because there are so many companies, so many reps, that's something beyond your control. But you should know that how many times you want to visit that doctor, right? What should be a channel through which you want to influence, right? I'm not saying that the medical rep's role is going, right? But it has to augment the time of
Yeah.
the
Quickly, Pankaj.
I'll say what doctor dislike.
Yeah.
If you demean the competition, if you challenge the doctor, why are you writing this brand? Mine is better. Doctor क्या बोलता है कि भाई देखो यार, you tell me your brand, what I'm writing is not your job.
Yeah.
And it's my wish also. Right? So that's a thing which he dislikes. What he really appreciate, if you can able to relate even the short span of time, the patient sitting outside with your product.
Mm.
And which is an art. It's a good skill to have. In 30 seconds, doctor, the lady sitting outside may require this drug XYZ. The moment you make say the lady sitting outside, you are making the doctor visualize.
Yeah.
So ये दो तीन चीजें हैं which has worked up till now very well, and it should continue to work very well. So the one thing, don't talk about the competition, don't demean what doctors are. It's completely no.
Understood. Yes, makes sense. Prashant.
So the likes and dislikes one thing, attitude.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what is the attitude? Yeah. He likes benefit-oriented communications. You know, I see a lot of communication which has a lot of features. You know, half-life is this much and this. He's not interested. The doctor will probably not understand what is half-life, what is targeted this. He is interested in those three benefits which will cure his patients or
Yes.
any disease. Number two is false commitment.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you give a lot of false commitments and he just doesn't like it.
Mm.
If you know that your organization due to compliance is not going to commit, not going to fulfill this commitment, be very frank and they like it. If he says that I want to go to a conference in probably Singapore and this is a conference, then take down, I'll see, and then you hang it on. Because there's a hierarchy which he goes and all those things, and then suddenly he comes up 1 month and says, I'm not going to do it. If an organization tells that, okay, these are the things we cannot do it because of compliance and all, be upfront with the KOL or KTL or doctor, he likes it.
Yeah.
So it's both ways is attitude. The benefit-wise communication, don't make any false commitment.
Yeah.
And again, I'll come to the first point which I made is discipline. Still, doctors in the last 100 years also, if they are seeing sales rep or medical rep or business executive, he knows that this guy comes regularly to me. There are no false calls made.
Yeah.
He's just not reporting. You know?
Yes.
And today also doctors, they open their mouth in front of the area manager and say that, you're coming after a long time.
Yeah.
That gives you a complete story that this guy was not regular.
Yes.
But the doctor will make a point that this guy comes regularly and that's the reason why your brand is available on the shelf.
Understood.
So attitude goes.
Yes.
Yeah. So as a follow-up question to that,
Yeah.
quickly, two points maybe each. I would want to go with Mr. Prashant first on this. How have HCPs' expectations changed over time, and how do they stay abreast of these changes and close the loop with MRs?
See the expectations. All the SCPs because of the social media and a lot of medical education which they get, they know a lot of scientific things. What they want is, first of all, earlier we used to be very frank, we used to in my vigilance, at least whenever I was in my previous company, 91, 92, 93, we used to compare our other generics also. Today they expect that, as I said again, it's all interconnected. They expect that the rep has to be disciplined. They expect that the rep should only talk about his brand and the benefit orientation.
Yeah.
Because his 90% of the job, as I said, practitioner, is to solve his needs of his patient and not anything else. And the third most important point is whether your product is available or not. That's a very, very important thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes in a new product, a medical rep will go make all kinds of detailing, generate his interest level. Suddenly when he writes, he goes to 10 pharmacists, the prescription is bounced.
Yeah.
And the patient comes to him. That's the most irritating thing for a practitioner.
Yeah.
That is, patient has come because it's not available. So your entire internal chain has to be so strong that you go and open your visual aid, open your scientific visual aid only when your product is available in each every corner of your pharmacist, main pharmacist.
Yeah.
Passing on to Mr. Pankaj.
Sure. See, the basics will not change, which we spoke in the beginning itself. Two things which the doctor would expect. A, he doesn't have the time, even though he has access to all social media, all the platform. उसको कोई चाहिए मतलब, who should able to tell them, sir, this data has come, this result has come, blah 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 blah, and he'll be convinced, thinking that he's come from a good company, झूठ तो नहीं बोलेगा. So that's the way it has been taken care of. There are set of people who really go through data on their own. But what they need is still a nudge.
Yeah.
Third party reference. Who else is writing? Which indication are they writing? Tell me about it, how your product is featuring in the marketplace. So that information he would love to have, which means he's not talking about the science alone, but he's also talking about how is the impact of your drug or his data which has come in the market. So these expectations also emerging very often, and they need some quick responses on that, not more than that.
Mr. Suvajit.
So, basic things, doctor's expectation is that regular visit, number one. Number two is that a very good behavior from the medical representative with a well, dressed, that is something they look at it. And third thing is that very interesting that the interesting scientific communication with the valid data and clinicals. whenever I'm talking about interesting communication data, means that which doctors will be interested to know. Not that I am having this clinical study and I have done this. No, how that will be benefited to the patients. That is something doctor would like to know, and according to that, if the MR is pitching, MR is having the communication, that will be appreciated by the doctors.
Yeah. Over to Mr. Amit.
Yeah, okay. So I'll save a little bit of time. I'll probably just say one thing because rest of them has been covered. Right? I think it is about that first point I had made, right? The expectation has changed in terms of responsiveness. Right? Earlier probably it was okay even if somebody MR goes and commits something, does not come back probably in some time. I think today that behavior is not tolerated. I think they are expecting that if you have got, there is a query, you get it resolved talking to whoever in the company and close the loop with. I think that's something which has become very critical.
Mr. Sandeep.
Well, of course, evidence-based medicine, but what I love to know what Prashant and Pankaj mentioned is, show me the patient.
Yeah.
Show the doctor the patient that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think that's what a doctor's life, is all about. And you're helping him have his life little easy. Show him the patient and relax.
Yes. So I think we are coming for the exciting part now because Abhijit is so excited about it. He has created these questions. It's a rapid fire question. We have a set of 10 questions. Only words, 2-3 words, not more than that. Not acceptable. No sentences.
Ask my name.
Yeah.
So now you can shoot the questions.
Yeah, sure. So it would be like a one question per person, and the next person when we join, it would be the next question, and you just get 3-4 seconds to think and then answer. Yeah. So maybe Prashant, again from the topic, one way that an MR can differentiate themselves from the other MRs who are standing behind him to go next into the chamber.
Discipline.
For you, then Pankaj, what is the primary resource for staying informed about the competitor products at your organization?
What is the primary?
Resource.
Oh,
Yeah,
e-learning.
e-learning. Okay, great. One way to build a long-term relationship between medical reps and HCPs.
The right attitude and strong communication skill.
Strong communication. Okay. To you, Sanket, one biggest area where managers typically want support from the sales enablement or training teams.
Data.
Okay. Yes. To you, Amit, what is the most effective communication channel according to you is with the HCP? What is the among all the omni channels or multi channels that you have? What's the most effective communication channel? WhatsApp. Nice. Yeah. What is the first primary factor influencing SCP's prescribing decisions?
For low important product, strong brand recall, more high level product, strong scientific data.
Nice. Yeah. Yes. One critical skill that you think is necessary for the MRs to excel in the digital detailing world.
The whole set of omni-channel, if they are aware of it, they use it, they build in their so-called communication. That's more, and then that should be digital selling, very, very important.
Digital service. Yes. What is the primary challenge that is faced by our MRs, specifically in the, let's say, the tier 3, tier 4 or the rural areas?
The communication.
Tier 3, tier 4.
And three type is the communication.
What is the main challenge in adapting the virtual interaction with the HCPs? I mean, what is the major challenge that the SCP sees or you as a company see of, let's say, having a virtual interaction between an MR and an HCP?
Availability of time.
Yes.
Availability of time, yeah. My last question. What is the most crucial, let's say, metric for you to measure, let's say, a success of a detailing call for you?
HCP.
Nice.
Which has not changed
Mm.
since last so many donkeys.
Yes.
Now do we have a
That's
hamper?
good.
I was going to have now like corporate current, now we have a hamper also.
Yes, we will have that at the end of this. Yes.
So yeah, thanks a lot. It was really an amazing, conversation. I learned helped personally a lot because as a journalist in life sciences, we also bother doctors a lot for articles and other stuff. So it was really nice. But before we conclude this session, I would want Mr. Abhijit, head of Pharma and BFSI sales Sharpsell AI, to conclude in a quick formal way. Yeah.
Okay, that means I need to talk about Sharpsell.
You can.
Okay. So good news is, I mean, I have been allotted, let's say 5-7 minutes, but I would
Yeah.
hardly take 3 minutes.
Thank
Because
you.
now
Time starts now.
yes. Okay, sure. So like I mentioned, I mean, Sharpsell was is a Ahmedabad alumni company. When we started with a lot of creating the simulations for the senior management or the mid management, right? Long story short, somewhere around 2016-17, these CXOs came back to us and told, by the way, guys, you are doing great for the senior management, mid management, all those simulators. Can you do something for the frontline sales team, the medical reps in pharma, let's say agent advisors in insurance, banking, etc., etc. And then we clearly discovered what used to work for the senior management or the mid management per se is not for the medical reps. Even we deep dive into the current LMS or enablement platform, they were very good for the mid management, not for the frontliners. Like I mentioned, when I personally shadowed all those medical reps across joint calls, I found they are in need for instant gratification. What I can learn today, can I use it today, tomorrow, and day after? Don't give me GAN, I don't want to know where do I see myself after 5 years, 10 years, etc. Second, for them, interaction with the HCP was like an exam for them. They want to excel into that exam, they want to look like the topper of the class, the area business manager, but they don't want to study for this. And third, and the most important point, I mean, for us, we know how much training and let's say targets or selling is interlinked, but for them it was like 2 different tracks. He was all ye sab gyan mat do, if your product really helps me to sell more, get more prescription, I'm in it, because at the end of the day I'm being judged on the number of prescriptions I get, my share of business, not on the number of hours that I spend on training. So I touched upon this because these are the building blocks for creating Sharpsell right in pharma. And let's say we have created a sales playbook automation tool, which is nothing but a guide which can be repeatable and enforceable at scale. So right from based on the persona of the doctor, whether he's a KOL or KBL, right? The same brand, I mean, I can see with the help of Sharpsell, if it's a key opinion leader, why not I start my conference, my conversation with what has happened in pharma conference last week in Hyderabad related to therapy area. Or if he's a key business leader, I directly talk about, let's say, what is the side effects, what are the parameters in which this brand is better than, let's say, any other competitor brand, etc., etc. Or answers to any of the FAQs objections. That's one. Second is, we have developed this something called AI-based conversational role-play challenges, wherein, let's say, not only the MR can practice what is going to be elevator pitch, etc., the AI responds as a doctor to it, and then again throws objections, and he again has to re-record, and this is like a conversation 3-4 times, and the AI gives a feedback like it is a training manager or someone from the business team. Then tells on sales skills he is, let's say, 4 out of 5, on empathy he is 2 out of 5, on, let's say, probing skill he is 2 out of 5, so on and so forth, right? And with doing all of this, there's a lot of data and analytics that is getting generated, and then probably the Me Too elements as well. All those continuous learning, like you mentioned, but we do it in a way like a micro learning as a bite size with a lot of gamification and leaderboards attached to it. So that's broadly what Sharpsell does. We currently work with a lot of companies like we work with Novartis, Glodama, Torrent, etc., etc. In pharma. Apart from this, we started with insurance, so we are currently live with approximately 28 to 29 clients across different sectors, but only for the frontline sales team. So that's a quick intro, and my entire agenda. I think I have I have got that pretty insightful session. Have noted a lot of points, which is again going to back. I'm going to go back to my product team and put those and see if we can put certain elements of this into our product roadmaps, or how we can further develop Sharpsell. So happy to stay in touch with you. Happy to, let's say, again show you in detail what Sharpsell is. Maybe if you want in due course of time. So thanks everyone. Thanks for.
Yeah, thanks a lot for taking your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.